Hey everyone, this is Stephen Owens. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Lead Well podcast. Hey, we have a great podcast lined up for you today. But before we even get into the podcast, I just want to let you know a little bit about the Lead Well podcast, just in case this is your first time tuning into us. What we do is we take time to interview leaders from around the world, and so that we can get their leadership insight, so that we can be able to learn how to be more effective leaders. And if you want to stay tuned for what we got going on here, want to stay informed, I encourage you to go over to my website, stephenowens.org, and sign up for our Lead Well newsletter. And that way you can stay informed with what we got going on. But also, as a free gift for signing up for the newsletter, you also receive a free download of my ebook, which is entitled Rescuing Ambition. So take some time out, go over to stephenowens.org and sign up, and also get your free ebook as well. So today on the podcast, we have a great podcast lined up for you. We have Pastor Shomari White. He's the lead pastor over at Half-Life Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe this podcast is going to be a blessing for you today. So get your pen and pad ready. We're going to learn some stuff. All right. See you soon. Pastor Shomari.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother, for coming on the Lead Well podcast. I really appreciate you taking your time out. If you can, just tell the people about yourself. I know you're at Half-Life Church in North Carolina, but just tell us a little bit about the ministry.
Well, sir, Pastor Owens, I'm grateful, first of all, to be here. I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Actually, grew up in Washington, D.C., so the Lord actually moved us to Charlotte, North Carolina to launch a church, man, and we've been doing it for 10 years now. God has really allowed us the opportunity to effectively lead in ministry. I'm one that says very plainly and simply, I'm not the best preacher. So I found what I did well, and I capitalized on what I did well. And I joke with all of my friends because here in Charlotte, one direction you have John P. Key. I mean, come on.
Right.
Come on now. And in the other direction, you got Stephen Furtick, right?
Got you.
And in the middle is me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So, just to all of your listeners and everybody out there who thinks they have it worse, because, everybody thinks, oh, man, if I had your hand, I'd be good. No,
come on.
Man, listen, listen, all of us feel the same way. All of us feel like we got the worst hand ever. Mm-hmm. But I've learned to love my assignment. And I believe that God does not give bad hands.
That's good.
He gave every last one of us a winning hand. Mm-hmm. You just got to know how to throw them cards right.
Come on. That's good. I love it. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your, well, first off, before we even get into your leadership journey, I got to tell you, my brother, I love the video. You guys did a different church video, spinoff of the Different World sitcom.
Yeah.
Man, what was the inspiration behind that? That was encouraging.
Well, and since you're my brother, I can be real transparent with you.
All right.
It was birthed from an attitude.
That's good. All right.
We were prepping. I'm going to be honest. We were prepping for Easter, and we were like, we got to kill Easter. Resurrection Sunday has got to be amazing. Jesus got up. It's the Super Bowl of the church.
Gotcha.
We're working on a play, dramatization, putting it together, working with the writers, set people, who can design this, who can put that together, back and forth. And one day in the staff meeting, I just got a pure attitude, and I was like, this is not amazing.
All right.
I was like, this is good. Mm-hmm. This is okay, but it's not amazing. I kept saying, man, we're different. Mm-hmm. We're different than this. We're not the traditional thing. I kept saying we're different. And I went and got the whiteboard, rolled the whiteboard in, and with the markers, just beginning to write on the thing. We're different. We're a different church. How are we different, and how can we show it? And we just start naming stuff. And my director of music and arts was like, man, we should do something like a different world. We're a different church. And everybody broke out laughing. I was like, wait a minute.
That's it, huh?
And we started talking about, can we do a play that shows both sides of church? Can we do a play that shows the traditional church and make fun of it a little bit, but also the spirit of it, and then show the traditional church and make fun of it and show the spirit of it. Gotcha. And right in between it, he was like, what if I sung the Different World track right in between it? And we were like, what if we make that the whole commercial thing? And we had our music and arts team put the track together, had Miss LeJeune Thompson come in and sang the track. She did a magnificent job. And then had our media guys go rent. Okay, we don't own the camera that moves.
Gotcha.
The camera that moves.
Keep it playing for us. That's good. That's good.
We rented the track to put the camera on that moves. And honestly, we went to Home Depot, and you can buy a door frame. The door already comes framed.
Okay.
So we just bought 2 door frames and stood them up.
Okay, nice.
And that's why you saw us walking through.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's stuff. You know what? That's the behind the scenes stuff that most people don't know about. You know, all we know is what we see on the video. But bringing us into the behind the scenes that's a blessing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So tell us about your leadership journey. How was that? How did that come about to where you're able now to lead one church, 2 locations? Was it, via the marketplace God brought you through, or was it through church, or a combination?
I'm more of a combination type person, or my background is more of a combination. My wife and I both started in education. We're both teachers.
Okay.
And working in ministry, growing up in ministry, always sort of saw things differently. I really wanted to be somebody's best number 2. I did not have senior pastor leadership desires whatsoever. I wanted to find a great leader that I believed in the vision and did my best to make sure that the vision was being pushed. I'm willing to give more. I'm willing to stay longer. I'm willing to sacrifice more. And so with that, just always working in ministry, always working to make sure somebody else's vision came to pass. And long story short, the Lord began to finally deal with me about pastoring. And that was a tough pill for me to swallow because I didn't have that desire.
Okay.
And I really felt inadequate, to be honest with you. I didn't feel like I was the one. I didn't feel like I had what it takes. And God began to shore me up, even as my dad was pastoring and helping him in leadership. It began to do that. The only thing is this, I didn't feel as if I was called to pastor the church my dad began.
Okay.
Which was a little heartbreaking, obviously. Didn't feel like that was God's leading for me. And so we continued to push in leadership and find, different resources, praying, taking classes, those sorts of things. And God really pressed upon my heart to move to Charlotte. And my wife and I moved to Charlotte, and we began to work hard. First, we moved to Texas. First, I was taking classes in Texas towards my master's there. And when we moved to Charlotte, didn't know anybody here. Just began to ask God, what do you want us to do? And he began to impress upon our heart, have life and different things. But here's where the leadership thing comes in, which I would think will be more important to your listeners. I studied church.
That's good.
So here's where my spiel comes in to be a positive influence on your vast audience. Many pastors are know-it-alls. They're atypical, pompous, egotistical, driven know-it-alls.
Gotcha.
And don't believe anybody has any of value to add to them that's outside of their sphere of understanding.
Gotcha.
So what I decided was, one thing I know, I don't know nothing.
Yes.
And so I visited other churches. I sought other pastors. I read every book I can get my hand on, sat down with other pastors. I would fly out of town, sit at the feet of a pastor, say, listen, how much does it cost me to get an hour of your time? I want to bless you. I want to pick your brain about church and ministry. What did you do different? How did you grow it like this? what did you give up traditionally? What would you never do again? I asked, when I had, 30 minutes with a leader, I wanted to ask the right questions.
Gotcha. That's good.
And so I did, man, I'm gonna be honest, I did research.
Okay.
I did research because I did not want to fail. I didn't want this thing to crumble. And so I sat at pastors' feet. I went to them. I didn't ask them to come to me. I went to them. I mean, pastors asked me for help and like, we want you to come. I was like, no, come see this.
Right.
See what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so my leadership journey really began with a humble heart. I wasn't, like I told you when I started, Furtick is on one side, Key is on the other side. I said, God, what did you give me that is uniquely me? Every leader, and this is good, this is a good note for everybody, every leader was uniquely wounded for who they are supposed to lead.
That's real good.
So if you are uniquely wounded for who you're supposed to lead, you have to examine your wounds to see who else has wounds like yours.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Because you're called to help them. And so, man, that my leadership journey has been arduous, to say the least. Trial and error. But I've always been a student of the game. I want to learn, bro. I'm trying to get it.
That's good.
I'm a dog in my mind. I'm thinking about it. I'm pushing. I'm examining. I put the right people around me. I staff my weaknesses. I don't need no yes men around me. I need you, around me that you can do what I can't do. Those sorts of things. Yes, sir.
So that's good. I got so many questions right now because all that stuff was good. But before we get to the the research part, if you don't mind, can we deal a little bit with the inadequacy? Like how was the Lord able to flush that out in your life, that even you begin to see, okay, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm able to meet this test, meet this challenge, so to speak, and then God be able to bring you up. Because I believe a lot of leaders feel that, even though they don't say that, So right. What was some of the things that the Lord did with you, if you don't mind?
If I understand the question correctly, what did the Lord do with me to help quench those inadequacy feelings?
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Great question. Well, I think a large part of inadequacy comes from not feeling fully prepared for multiple places. But the first one I would want to address is not feeling fully prepared. And what I mean by that is a lot of us, okay, this is going to sound so horrible, man. I'm trying to be nice. This is going to sound bad. But preachers feel like they're called to preach, they're called to pastor, they're called to the ministry part, but then they look at the administrative part, they look at the social part, they look at the financial part, and they're like, I don't know how to do all that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to pull that off. And then we begin to feel inadequate because we're saying, I only know how to do this.
Gotcha.
What about the rest of that stuff? And here's the beauty of what God showed me. He didn't call me to do all that other stuff.
That's good.
That comes with staffing. Finding great people that know how to do what you don't know how to do.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not called to lead in every area. So what God began to show me is I called you to do something, not everything.
Okay, that's good.
So it turns out every area where I felt inadequate, I wasn't supposed to do nothing right there.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right.
I'm like, wait, Lord. So you want me to do what I'm good at? Yes. I want you to do what I anointed you to do. Oh, you want me to do what I understand? Yes. I've given you wisdom and knowledge right there. What about all these other things? I don't want you to do that. So that began to settle my heart in feeling inadequate. And then, so the first part of inadequacy, in my estimation, comes from not being prepared or feeling that you're not prepared. Another level of inadequacy is absolutely a trick of the enemy. It is absolutely a trick of the enemy. You're not going to be able to preach like your best favorite preacher. Don't worry about that. You're not going to be able to do something else like your favorite person that does that.
Yeah.
But the way you preach, the way you disseminate information, the way you communicate, the way you deliver your talk, whatever your verbiage is, there is a group of people whose ears have been tuned to hear your voice.
That's good.
Your goal is to find them. Don't look for the people who want what you're not.
Yeah, that's good.
Because you'll spend your life disappointing them and feeling inadequate. But the greatest thing I ever did was find the people who like the way I teach.
Love it, love it, love it.
And every week they think I'm killing it. Now, whether I'm killing it for real or not, that's we're gonna let the jury decide that. There's a possibility I'm horrible every week.
Yeah, got you.
I found a group of people who like the way I teach.
Yes.
And since I found that group of people, they think I'm killing it every week.
Love it, love it.
So a part of inadequacy is attempting to lead the wrong people.
That's good.
Trying to influence the wrong group of people. Trying to be a ministry mutt instead of a purebred.
Come on, that's good. Love it.
Whatever your breed is, be pure to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of being a ministry mutt. This week you Jakes, next week you Jones, the following week you're Vernon, then you're Walker. Listen, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You don't do a good job of any of those.
Right. Come on. Just be you.
However you are.
Yeah.
Find the people who like that. And it kind of helps with that inadequacy. I hope I answered that well.
You did. And it even brought up some thoughts about even myself and my journey. Because I've been preaching since 1995, started pastoring eight years ago. But being, very transparent, it wasn't until maybe about a year or two that I got comfortable in how I preached.
Yes.
This is who I am. This is my style. I can learn from other people, but this is me, and that has been a great blessing in bringing comfort to my own heart. So that was right on point.
Amen. Praise God.
Right on point. Yeah. So dealing with now the research part, right? Okay. So as you begin to look at how to, start a church and growing a church, because having a church of 25 is different than having a church of 100, right?
Yes.
So at every level, was there a different mechanisms you had to put in place, or was it that same idea of I just got to research how to get to the next level, whatever that level is? Like, how was that process for you?
Well, you have to define your win. WIN. You have to define your win before you start.
Okay.
I always tell pastors, define your win and keep your own score.
Okay, that's good.
If you let other people keep your score, then you'll never measure up. And if you let other people define your win, you'll never get a break. Okay. The race will never be over. You'll never, be able to have peace because you're always second best. Gotcha. Those sort of things. So when it comes to the research, my suggestion, what I did, and my suggestion to others, is to delineate demarcations and understand where you're trying to go.
Okay.
So if you're looking at church growth, the average church size is, I think 70, 77, somewhere in there, national average, somewhere near 70, 77. You need to look at how do we get from 0 to 77 and the growth barriers and blockers there. How research, how do we overcome that? Okay. And then what's the next demarcation? I think it's like 150. Okay. What's the barriers there? And how do we overcome that? And set your plan up to get from 0 to the number you believe God has called you to be.
That's good.
So you're setting your scale up from 0 to whatever that next number is, but then you're going beyond that in your planning systematically. Gotcha. So you're always ahead of the staff. You're always ahead of the church in your understanding of where you're going. And so I begin to research what those growth barriers are, because there are there aren't just, now some things are demonic activity. The enemy really is trying to fight you.
Sure.
Other growth barriers are your personal limitations. And I'll come back to that. Remind me to come back to micro versus macro. Mm-hmm. Some of them are your personal issues that can stop you from growing.
Okay.
But then there are also sociological barriers that you have to contend with. Mm-hmm. There are certain numbers where people, it doesn't have to be in church. It could be in a social gathering. Mm-hmm. There's a certain number of people that gather. And then after that number, they don't want anybody else in that gathering. They feel like it's enough.
Yeah.
And whenever a new person comes, that new person has to break that barrier to be included. So there are social numbers and gatherings that have nothing to do with church, but have everything to do with people.
Gotcha.
So I begin to study social gatherings and social norms to figure out how people behave when they don't want more growth.
Wow.
Because you can be a fantastic pastor, an amazing leader, but your people don't want your church to get bigger. Because the church getting bigger means less time with you.
Yeah.
The church getting bigger means they can't call you because now there are more people that are talking to you that have your ear. They're less of a person of influence. So those are some sociological norms and barriers you also have to attend with. So I would say what I did was I looked at all of them and tried to design a systematic approach to break every social barrier. And did it all work? No.
Gotcha.
No, it didn't all work.
I appreciate that honesty too. Yeah.
Mistakes. Oh my God, I messed it up so many times. But for the most part, it worked.
Gotcha.
It all worked, but it worked enough. Forgot the lessons like we had.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at, I researched my own barriers. I looked at myself honestly.
Okay.
What I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I staff my weaknesses. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Sure.
But then also have to figure out whether I'm a micromanager or a macro manager.
Okay.
Figure out, how do I get people in here that can handle my leadership style?
That's good.
So that I'm not messing everything up also.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you're bringing up, so macro church growth, but also those micro issues, more than likely is the leader, right? And then also, how they influence the leaders around them. Right? So when you begin to think about, what were some of the books that kind of helped you to, look at, not even dealing with the macro stuff, but just me as a leader, yourself, to help you to grow in your leadership, so you can even be able to think through, how to be able to question, where you are and stuff like that. Do you have any books that helped you with that?
Well, on the leadership side, everything Sam Chan, everything John Maxwell, which I'm sure everybody says.
Gotcha.
Everybody goes right to Maxwell, Chan. Keller has a book called The One Thing.
Okay.
That's really, really good. I would suggest that. But as far as the self-assessment, I really relied on works by, forgive me. He wrote a book called, forgive me for that. I should have it in front of me. I had some other books I was going to mention. There is two doctors. You got to forgive me. I'm gonna have to look it up.
No worries.
Because I wasn't planning on going this way. If you give me a second, I'll find it.
Sure.
I looked for books that help me as a man more so than as a preacher.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Because sometimes we do everything for preaching, but we don't do things as a man. Introspection. Oh, there it is. Henry Cloud.
Okay.
Henry Cloud, John Townsend. Reading all those books on boundaries. And what those books did was it helped me get healthy.
That's good.
It helped me get healthy enough to endure Christian critique.
Christian critique. I love it. Yeah. There's a special kind of critique from Christians, for sure.
Yeah. It helped me. So I read a lot by Dr. John Townsend and Dr. Henry Cloud.
Okay, got you.
And that really helped me become a better man. It helped me in spiritual guidance to be healed, to be cleansed.
Gotcha.
So that when people wanted to give me advice, I didn't take offense to the advice they gave me. I looked at it as Holy Spirit trying to show me different things. One thing Dr. Vernon always says is just because they hate you don't mean they're wrong.
Yeah, amen. Come on. That's the truth, though. Yes.
People always say, man, I got all these haters. I'm like, okay. But are they telling the truth? They might hate you, but are they telling the truth?
That's good. That's good.
They could be telling the truth. And so I read a lot of books like that. I read a lot of books about counseling, getting better, healing the heart, those sorts of things, to get myself ready to hear and endure Christian critique. Because you got to put the right people around you that have your best interests at heart, but that can tell you where you're not doing so well.
Sure.
But everybody's not called to mega ministry. Everybody doesn't have what it takes to do mega ministry. I also brought in church consultants
That's good.
to help me build a structure that is strong. I was building, but I wanted a third party eye to look at what we were putting together infrastructure wise, because your preaching gift can be stronger than your infrastructure.
That's good. You got to break that down a little bit.
Okay. You can have a great preaching gift, but that doesn't mean you have a great administrative gift. Most preachers are good pastors or good preachers, and hopefully you become a good pastor, but that doesn't mean you know how to do anything in the back office.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of the things we do wrong is the first person we hire is the pastor, meaning a pastor that births out of church. They're the first person they hire. I got to work this ministry. You're the wrong person to be hired first.
Gotcha.
A pastor that launches a church should never be the first employee, not the first full-time employee. The first full-time employee you need is a church administrator.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because you're the pastor, but you're not going to answer all the emails. You're not going to order the envelopes. You're not going to make sure the cleaning people got it done. You're not going to take out any trash. You're not going to do anything that needs to be done. You're going to be in the office praying.
Yeah, gotcha.
Reading, researching, trying to win souls. Amazing. But when you get to church on Sunday, you forgot you didn't have the water heater serviced.
Gotcha. Yes, I understand.
You forget. So infrastructure-wise, you can have a great preaching gift, but not have an administrative prowess that you need. So all these people are coming because they want to hear you preach, but then they have questions about what's next. They have questions about, hey, I gave and it's time for me to do my taxes. Can you give me the report?
Gotcha.
Well, you're the pastor. You're not the bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Do you even think that you need a strong bookkeeper? Okay, pastor, you preach amazing, but administratively, I'm sending you emails and I'm not getting a return on the emails as fast as I need to. I have questions. I want to know about different things. I want to come in for a session with you and your wife. I want to come in and volunteer even. I want to come in. I want to know more about this particular ministry. And you just don't have the things, the infrastructure. Who's answering the phone? People are calling. You're not going to sit there and answer the phone, pastor.
Right. Come on. That's the truth, though. Yeah.
You don't have that in place. You don't have the people to do follow-up. Okay, they visited your church, but you didn't call them this week. You didn't send them an email. You didn't send them a letter. That's an infrastructure thing.
Gotcha. That's good.
You got to have systems in place. Systems, you got to have your SOP, standard operating procedures.
Okay.
How do we do what we do?
Yes. That's good.
How do we usher? How do we give? How do we count money? How do we open up the church? How do we make a request for the church to be open? How do we rehearse? Standard operating procedures across the board requires infrastructure. And a lot of churches are failing and pastors are frustrated because they said, man, I'm killing it on Sunday. I'm preaching the house down. You can't get in. They're shouting. It's amazing. People getting touched, healed, and delivered. But I can't retain them. They come for the excitement. They're retained by the infrastructure.
Oh, that's good. That's tweetable right there. Oh yeah, that's good. That's tweetable. That's good.
Yeah.
So and so and so I really appreciate books. So I'm glad that you like throwing them at us. I'm serious. So do you have any suggestions when it comes to books on infrastructure, how to develop the church, those things like that? Do you have any suggestions?
Actually, I'm working on writing some of that stuff myself.
Hey,
because it's not a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I can give you a couple that have blessed us.
Sure.
One is called, excuse me for looking away. I have my iPad because I want to make sure I get the names right.
Yeah.
One is called It Takes Two.
Okay.
It Takes Two. Who's helping you lead? It Takes Two. Who's helping you lead? It's by Ramon Harper.
Okay.
Ramon Harper. I always give that one. A book called Traction. This is not about church. Okay. It's about the marketplace. But the principles are timeless. Okay. That's by Jeno Wikmen. It's called Traction by Jeno Wikmen. Of course, The One Thing by Gery Keller.
Okay.
That's a pretty popular book. The One Thing by Gery Keller. Of course, everything by 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Okay. John Maxwell.
John Maxwell. He wrote a book called Talent is Never Enough. But then Cracking Your Church's Culture Code by Sam Chan. That's imperative. The Attractional Church.
Okay.
The Attractional Church by Bill Hornsby.
Mm-hmm.
The It Church. The It Church. Do You Have It?
Yeah, yeah.
That's by who's that by? Craig Groeschel.
Gotcha.
That's oh my God, that is Jesus.
It was a blessing to you, huh, Pastor?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the most important. Leadership Pain by Sam Chan also.
Okay.
Leadership Pain is really, really good. Dr. Ari Vernon's book, his doctoral thesis, Size Does Matter.
Okay. Size
Does Matter by Dr. Vernon is a must read also. That's kind of the group that I think I hinge on for the most part.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure that I get some links and put those in the bio so people get to check those out.
Okay. Yeah.
Pastor Show, I really appreciate you, brother, taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot going on, man. I do appreciate you taking time out to come onto the podcast and share with our community.
What you're doing is absolutely amazing, man. I hope everybody follows you, man, listens to what you're saying, because you're doing a great work. Here's the thing, man. Nobody's asking the right questions. And we don't have answers because nobody's asking the right questions. And I tried my best as I was doing my research to ask the right questions. I just hope I was clear, man, and concise, and that this was worth anybody's time to listen to, prayerfully.
Amen. It was a blessing, brother. I got some good information out of it, and I believe the community gonna get some good information too. So, cool. Don't even worry about that. It was a blessing. We'll definitely, my brother, if you get a chance, we'll be able to have you back on too. So, thanks so much.
I'm honored, man. Pastor, thank you for letting me come through.
You got it, brother. I'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Signing off.
All right. God bless. Bye now.
All right.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Pastor Shomari White. Remember, take some time out to go over to stephenowens.org and sign up for the Lead Well newsletter and receive your free ebook, Rescuing Ambition. And I would love to connect with you on social media. I'm on Facebook. You can reach me at Developing Leadership on Facebook. On Instagram, you can reach out to me at SO Speaker. And then on Twitter, you can reach me at Owens_ministry. And listen, if you're interested in developing your leadership, I would love to be your leadership coach. So reach out to me and we can see how we can connect and how I can be your coach to help you to develop into the leader God has called you to be. All right. Until next time, remember, leaders must lead well. Bye now.